Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. I'm Coriander, and today we're skipping the basics and jumping right into the guts of your fishing reel. We're going to break down the intense, high-stakes mechanical battle happening right inside your gear and see exactly what separates the ultimate catch from the ultimate heartbreak. So picture this scenario. Just last weekend, I'm out fishing with a buddy of mine, and he hooks into an absolute monster of a fish. His adrenaline is completely pumping, his rod is bent in half, and his reel is just screaming. He looks over at me, totally thrilled, and yells, "Man, I absolutely love the sound of victory." But I had to deliver some tough news right in the middle of the fight. I told him, "Buddy, a screaming reel might actually be a burning reel. Because honestly, if your drag isn't incredibly smooth and built to handle that kind of heat, your gear might literally be burning up right in your hands."
We've all heard it, right? The classic angler's tale. I got a strike so hard it snapped my line before I could even blink. It's heartbreaking. But actually, scratch that. Here's the hard truth. If your drag was set perfectly and the internal mechanism was working smoothly, that fish should never have snapped your line. It's almost never just a super-powered fish. It's a catastrophic mechanical failure. To stop that heartbreak, we first need to zoom in. Let's look at Section 1, the mechanics of the drag, the ultimate clutch. You know, a lot of folks think the drag is just a brake to dead stop the fish, but it's way more sophisticated than that. Think of your drag exactly like the clutch or the brake pads on your car. It's a friction device. Its real job is to let that line unwind in a perfectly controlled manner well before the tension reaches the breaking point. It's literally taking all that kinetic energy from a massive fish swimming away and converting it into thermal energy or heat right inside the reel. And all of this happens in what engineers call the drag stack. It's basically an alternating series of washers sandwiched together like a giant puzzle. You have your eared washers, which lock into the rotating spool, and keyed washers, which lock onto the stationary shaft. Right in the middle are your friction washers. When that trophy fish makes a huge run, those metal plates rub against the friction washers, which slows down the spool and burns off all that intense heat. But what happens when that friction generates too much thermal energy? That brings us to Section 2, the ultimate showdown, felt versus carbon fiber. The crucial point here is that not all drag materials are created equal. Historically, and even in a lot of budget reels today, you're going to find cheap oiled felt washers. And the problem? Well, felt is a terrible heat conductor. It acts as an insulator. So your fish goes on a blistering 50-yard run, heat spikes rapidly, and the oil inside that felt literally flashes or burns right off. The felt fibers then carbonize and turn into this crispy plastic-like dust. Once that happens, you are left with a jerky metal-on-metal nightmare that violently locks up and instantly snaps your line. No way around it. So if you're ever out there and experiencing jerky line pulls or a gummy-feeling drag, your felt washers are probably failing. Felt is highly hygroscopic, which is just a fancy way of saying it loves to absorb water like a sponge. If you take it saltwater fishing, it pulls that water in. When it evaporates, it leaves behind a brace of salt crystals that cause the felt to swell up and harden. Add in the fact that felt permanently squashes flat if you leave your drag tightened in storage, and you've got a guaranteed recipe for a lost fish. Now here is the absolute game changer, aerospace-grade woven carbon fiber. This is the gold standard for modern drags. We're talking about rigid polyacrylonitrile fibers mixed with high-temp resins. Unlike felt, carbon fiber provides exceptional heat dissipation. You could literally take a lighter to a carbon fiber washer and it won't burn. It won't tear, it stays thermally stable, and it completely laughs off saltwater corrosion. To be fair, felt does have one specific use case. Because it's so soft, it has extremely low startup inertia. That makes it okay for super light finesse fishing, like using a 4-pound test line on panfish. But for literally anything else, carbon fiber is the undisputed champion. It offers extreme pressure handling, ridiculous durability, and completely resists water damage. Which brings us to a massive debate in the angling community. Section 3, the grease debate. To lube or not to lube? Okay, so you've got these indestructible carbon washers. But do you run them completely dry to get the maximum possible friction? Or do you slather them in specialized Teflon-based drag grease? People have argued about this for years. Well, here's the science. Running carbon washers dry technically does give you the absolute maximum raw stopping power, which is great, if you're trying to rip a grouper straight out of a coral reef before it can even blink. But dry carbon has microscopic peaks and valleys that lock up with the metal washers. That creates a dangerous initial stick-slip jerkiness known as startup inertia. By greasing your washers with something high quality like Cal's or Douthlon, you kill that jerkiness entirely. You get this buttery smooth payout that protects your knots from shock, and it creates a waterproof barrier extending the life of the whole setup. For like 99% of anglers, greased carbon is definitely the ultimate way to go.
So, do you need to empty your bank account to get this kind of protection? Let's check out Section 4, the engineering of victory in the modern market. It used to be that extreme performance materials like 50 plus MSI or 40 to 60-10 carbon were these fiercely guarded industry secrets. This level of tech gives you extreme sensitivity and heat dissipation, but it used to be restricted strictly to the most elite, flagship Japanese reels that would absolutely drain your wallet.
But the industry has totally shifted, largely thanks to the Weihai advantage. Weihai China has become an absolute hub for advanced manufacturing. Because of this, everyday anglers can finally access aerospace-grade carbon fiber drag systems and high-precision CNC gears at a mid-tier price point, totally bypassing those traditional legacy brand markups. In fact, like I was telling my buddy, these exact types of high-tech, monster-taming reels with the exact same silky smooth drag as a $400 Japanese brand are now easily available for Sri Lankan anglers right on Daraz. You get professional, tournament-level stopping power without needing a tournament-level budget. It's honestly a game changer. So the next time you're out on the water and your reel starts that beautiful, intense, screaming run, ask yourself, are you confident you're actually hearing the sound of victory? Have you upgraded the heart of your reel to carbon fiber to handle the heat? Or are you just waiting for the devastating snap of a burned-out felt washer? Protect your line, upgrade your drag, and make sure that when the monster bites, you are absolutely ready for the fight. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.